Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing well and that you're all having an incredible day. To start things off, the testnet launch of Ethereum's Istanbul system-wide upgrade has been set. They said, and I do quote for anyone listening and who doesn't know how this works, we pick a block number that we estimate to be around the 2nd of October. Ethereum founder community member Hudson Jameson said on Friday. However, that might be 1 or 2 days behind or forward from that date based on how fast the blocks are produced between then and now, end quote. Originally targeted for the 4th of September, like we spoke about sometime in the summer, the testnet activation was pushed back to the 2nd of October due to the large volume of Ethereum improvement proposals, or EIPs, that were submitted for review. Pretty much every single time that there is an upgrade that's going to happen, people submit EIPs, Ethereum improvement proposals, and they say, I think this should go through, I think this one should go through. For some reason, in typical fashion, there's like a huge rush as we get closer to the actual update for everyone talking about that they believe that this should actually go through. If you listen to one of their developer meetings, usually some of them are live. Sometimes you can see them on YouTube live. I mean, they may have like 140 people actually watching, but it's still interesting to watch it sometimes. It goes on for hours. Anyway, the point is, they'll propose things over and over and over and over and over with 15 different things per person. So this is apparently, there apparently were too many of them trying to be proposed at the exact same time, and therefore this is why the testnet is being postponed. Of the roughly 30 EIPs that were deliberated on by developers, only 6 have been accepted. Look at that. And for inclusion in Istanbul, with 8 other EIPs tentatively planned for preceding system-wide upgrades, or hard forks, newly dubbed Berlin. While the Istanbul testnet upgrade now a month later has been planned, mainnet activation will similarly be postponed until November. After the close of DevCon, Ethereum's premier developer conference, a specific date and block height for mainnet activation was deliberately left unspecified, thank goodness, given cautious settlement from Ethereum developers after prematurely committing to the newly targeted dates for Istanbul. What's very fascinating about the Ethereum team is that historically they have constantly given an exact date, and that date has never come to be. It's usually the 2nd or 3rd attempt, and this is usually when we get the actual activation of the upgrade that they were talking about 9 months before. So as of right now, the testnet for Istanbul should be happening in October. That is 2 days before or 2 days after the 2nd of October. The mainnet activation, as we know it right now, appears to be sometime in November after DevCon. That's totally fine. I feel like the actual launching or announcement of the launch of DevCon makes a bit more, or rather of Istanbul makes a bit more sense after DevCon, or rather the last thing that they talk about. Hey, things have been a little rough the last couple of months, but here we are. We're finally going to launch it. I don't know what this means for the other activation that's going to supposed to be happening at the beginning of January, but we will see. And like I said, historically, Ethereum is just one of those things. It says Ethereum's difficulty bomb may not happen for another year or two. This was August 22nd, 2017. Ethereum upgrade delayed again. That was the January 16th. That was 2019. What I think is happening is, if you would like my say on it, the last couple of years have been quite interesting for Ethereum. If you were here about a year ago, maybe even sometime, let's say even during the middle of 2018, a huge discussion that we kept on having, my goodness, I don't know what's wrong with my English today, just, bear with me, that we kept on having for some reason, or rather, Ethereum was constantly being adopted by many countries, by many law agencies, by many offices, where they were talking about they were going to write their laws on Ethereum, they were going to do so-and-so on Ethereum. Ethereum's gotten to the point where it can't really hold much more. A couple of days ago, for those of you who do not know, Vitalik Buterin said that Ethereum is almost full. That's not good. What I think has happened is, I think shareholders or people who hold large amounts of Ethereum, or early investors or even late investors, people who have put a lot of money into the project for development, for so-and-so, have kind of come to them and said, you need to do this. Typically, if someone gives you, let's say, 20, 30, 40 million dollars, just throwing a random number, I assume people aren't giving them 5, 10, 15 bucks. They're probably saying, okay, within a year, can you have this done so we can integrate and so and so and so, and then announce that we're also going to be doing this? Yep, sure, fine. Yeah, you know, it's cool. The people from Ethereum, or Ethereum as a whole, we were supposed to have had Constantinople, Istanbul, Plasma, Casper, and another upgrade that I can't even think of off the top of my head by spring of last year. We don't have, I think we have one of them. I think Constantinople has been activated on the network, but it's not really, not to say that it's not doing a lot. Ethereum's still not performing. So like I said, what I think is happening is they're in a mad dash right now. It's going to be a very interesting make or break moment for them, because after being around for about 4 or 5 years, announcing that you can do this, this, and this, and then only being able to do this without the other two, you get to a point where companies or venture capitalists, anyone who's put money into your project, begins to start looking at other projects, and they go, okay, well, you know, if you can't do it, we have to put our money elsewhere. Ethereum, for a very long time, and even now, depending on what you read around, is still seen as like not the brainchild, it's not the right word, as like this golden entity within the cryptocurrency space that's going to make, the entire point of Ethereum is to be their own internet. The idea is that in the future, Ethereum will be so large that we won't even have to use the current internet that we're using right now. We can simply just use Ethereum. i.e., you can do what you want, when you want, how you want, all over Ethereum. Doesn't really matter. But we haven't even gotten to like 1% of that. So what I think is happening, like I said, if by the Ethereum has to do the upgrades sometime at some point, it just can't be 2 years from now. So we have a semi date for the actual mainnet activation, but I think the thing that's going to really propel it forward is the January update, which I believe is the beginning of proof of stake, and also finally getting Plasma, which is also a really big question mark as well. If by the end of this year we haven't heard any specific dates for the upgrades, that's going to be an issue. However, yeah. Let's move on. Something that was also making the news like crazy, the recipient wallet of the $1 billion Bitcoin transaction on the 6th of September is now presumed to be the first richest non-exchange address. The recipient wallet of the massive 94,504 Bitcoin transaction is the top richest Bitcoin address that is not reportedly associated with any crypto-related company, according to data from monitoring source BitInfo Charts. For those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, pretty much we have people, whale watchers, whale trackers, who follow very large transactions, addresses, to see what they're doing. If you have 50,000 Bitcoin, has that Bitcoin moved? No, then this wallet is presumed to be dead. This wallet is presumed to be so-and-so. There's tons of money flowing through this wallet. Therefore, people start to correlate, or we end up getting indications as to exactly which cryptocurrency wallet belongs to a cryptocurrency exchange. However, there's just one wallet that received over $1 billion worth of Bitcoin just a couple of days ago. Here's the actual chart right here. According to data by London-based blockchain data provider Token Analyst, Token Analyst, at least 1/3 of the mysterious transaction directly originates from Huobi's exchange. Another analyst, blockchain data and metrics firm Glassnode, tweeted that at least 73,000 Bitcoin from the transaction originate from Huobi. According to the earlier tweet by CryptoCat, weird name, at least two, for those of you who are looking at the screen, you know why I said weird name. CryptoCat, at least 2 Bitcoin wallets involved in a notable transaction belong to Huobi. One of the specified wallets is directly involved in the transaction. They apparently contacted Huobi, and Huobi said, and I quote, "As we don't generally disclose information about transactions, we can only confirm that this transfer of funds did not involve Huobi's own funds, and that with exchanges as big as ours, large transactions like this one can and do occur from time to time. Our security team has already been monitoring the situation carefully. and has found no evidence of any compromises in accounts to security. All client funds remain safe and secure, end quote. So like I said, this was all over the place. People were trying to, or rather were speculating as to why they thought this could have been happening. Who could have come into possession of $1 billion worth of Bitcoin at one time? And even more so, I remember I read an article and I sat there shaking my head up and down, agreeing with them. They were saying, who in their right minds would send a transaction that was pretty much 94,000 Bitcoin at one time? I don't think I have the family jewels to even think of doing that. I've been scared before. I remember years ago, I think I did a 1 or 2 Bitcoin transaction, and I was terrified. I can't even imagine doing a 1,000 Bitcoin transfer at one time and not having shaky hands. Anyway, the point is, I'm going to assume this either belongs to Queen of England, or more logically, I assume this is some other exchange who's trying to get up there, or it's probably the New York Stock Exchange. That seems to be the most logical. I don't was going to say I don't see a lot of sense for a movement like this over the last couple of days, but I mean, there are a lot of people with a lot of money. And if you even want to remember last year, for those of you who were here, it was sometimes the beginning of 2018. There was a guy in Dubai. I think he had acquired 30,000 Bitcoin, I think over the course of like a 4-month period or something like that. So it does happen. There are a lot of people with a lot of money on this planet, and we keep talking about how how there's not enough Bitcoin. There's not enough of one Bitcoin per millionaire and billionaire on this planet. I assume some of them are starting to take notice, if that makes any sense. Anyway, yeah, that's the big transfer news. I see news like this and I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. But the internet freaks out about it. I mean, I guess it's kind of significant. First of all, 94,000 anything is a lot, even if it's just dollars. 94,000 Bitcoin, $1 billion is completely insane. It makes you even wonder when Bitcoin, in my opinion, does one day end up hitting $100,000. Going to be a hefty sum that person or company, I think it's more likely it's a company, has. Anyway, let's move on. Next up, the Malta Financial Services Authority, or the MFSA, says in its recently published strategic plan that it will monitor, or actively monitor, and manage business-related risks related to cryptocurrency firms. On the 6th of September, the MFSA published its 3-year strategic plan from 2019 to 2021, which states the Malta financial regulator will strive to modernize their regulatory approach to be one step ahead of industry developments. The MFSA said it will work closely with the Financial Intelligence Analysis Unit and other national and international authorities, including the newly formed Malta Digital Innovation Authority. They said, and I do quote, "Whilst Malta has taken unprecedented steps in bringing blockchain and crypto technology in the regulatory fold, we understand that such innovations present challenges in the prevention of money laundering and terrorism financing," end quote. It is clear that one of the regulator's main priorities is combating financial crime, money laundering, and terrorism financing. I was going to say end quote, not really a quote. Cool, interesting, amazing. Here's the actual thing right here. This is what I guess the point to be taken home is that this is another, I guess, not a drop. This is another regulation for or from a country. It's nice to see that we are getting more of these. Still a couple of countries left who got to get with the program. I don't think they're going to do it this year, but it's nice to see that many other countries. Sorry, I don't know what's going on. I haven't had my tea yet. It's nice to see that other countries, or other countries that are already popular amongst cryptocurrency advocates, are releasing their cryptocurrency rules and regulations and what can and cannot be done, and saying it's pretty much, it always just comes down to these are the old laws. We're putting them on top of cryptocurrencies. Just abide by them. As of right now, I think Malta Oh gosh, there was one more. There was one more country that was like really friendly to cryptocurrency. But even then, we have Portugal. There's no taxes at all on anything you do with crypto. So it's so funny. When we were talking about that the other day, I saw so many people in the comment section were like, does anyone know a website to buy property in Portugal? And I was like, I was right there with you. I did look. I won't even lie. To kind of semi-finish things off, not really, because there's still a lot to talk about. Altcoins will return to prominence as Bitcoin's market cap share is bound to decrease. This was stated by Binance in its bulletin, which went live on the 4th of September. Binance Research, the exchange's analytics firm, or ARM, repeated claims made in July that Bitcoin's current market dominance would not last indefinitely. Officials also revealed they had fielded interest from investors keen to buy altcoins at lower prices. They said, we stated that we believe Bitcoin's dominance will go back to the 50 to 60% range. We still believe in this, partly because Bitcoin's dominance was below 60% for an extended period from May 2017 until June 2019. I think Bitcoin's lowest, air quotes, dominance, I think I just heard this. I believe it was 33%. But I think that was when the market was going ballistic in 2017 and altcoins offered a higher return than being in Bitcoin at the time. So I think the lowest we've ever been was 33% for Bitcoin's dominance. It said it has only been in the past 3 months or so that Bitcoin's dominance has shot up drastically, and the crypto world has found its way of making everyone feel like a prisoner for the moment. That's a weird sentence. The other part being, as Bitcoin's dominance has risen, the calls for Bitcoin's dominance to fall have increased. And sometimes I believe these are somewhat self-fulfilling prophecies. If you keep saying, you know, you're going to trip, you're going to fall, you're going to fall, you're going to trip, at some point you will, and then you'll go, oh my gosh, I tripped. It's just kind of how things are. So if people keep, this is how I feel. Everyone has their own metrics for life. This is what I've typically seen. Because if you, especially within the financial world, if you keep repeating, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, eventually investors will think, okay, it's going to happen. Other people also know that it's going to happen. Therefore, you kind of get what I'm saying. On top of this, a couple of days ago, I don't think we actually went over the exact metrics of it, so I won't even go that deep because it's not that significant. Bakkt Warehouse, a qualified custodian of crypto trading platform Bakkt, is now accepting customers' Bitcoin deposits and withdrawals. This happened on Friday, I think it was. It was sometime at the end of last week. It was widely believed that not even the launch of Bakkt, but just people being able to deposit their Bitcoin with the New York Stock Exchange, with Bakkt, would potentially cause a bit of a price movement up, in that we would have indications that hundreds of millions, if not potentially a billion and some change of worth of Bitcoin had been then locked away. We would get the numbers, we would get so and so and so. But around that same exact time, Bitcoin was testing the $11,000 number, area, range, somewhere around there. I think when we were talking about it the last that we spoke, I think Bitcoin was at $10,960. Give or take, somewhere around there. And my friend was asking me if he should buy some more, and I said hold off for a bit, because I typically don't look at charts for price metrics and et cetera, but it looked like, so here's a really good one. For those of you who do look at charts, what I saw, which was really weird, is that, we're in that, tightening range, if you will. For some reason, there's like a 20-day gap between Bitcoin going up and going down. It's very, very weird. I don't know if it's just me and the way that I was looking at it. The height of every up and the low of every down within that range was always 20 days apart. And I just saw that we were moving up, and I was like, I have a strange feeling we're going to be going down until we end up hitting the end of another 20-day mark. Like I said, this is, these are my eyes. This is what I saw. But I didn't think that Bitcoin was going to shoot back up past 11,000. It was something very odd. I was like, it's not going to do it. Anyway, Bitcoin, when this was written, had dropped by $400 in an hour. Analysts are now saying that Bitcoin's price, and listen, we've had stuff like this before in the news where Bitcoin is going down and people say that they think that Bitcoin could be going down even further. And they usually get a bit intense, i.e., Bitcoin can be 12,000, moving around 10,500, and people go, yeah, Bitcoin's going back down to 2,500, and it's like, where did you get those numbers from? I've seen analysts saying that they believe that Bitcoin is going to go anywhere from 6,500 to around $8,900. I wouldn't mind an 8,000 something dollar Bitcoin. However, I don't think it's going to be very likely that we're going to be seeing a $6,000 or $5,000 Bitcoin, simply because if you look at different cryptocurrency exchanges, the amount of buy orders around the 7, 8, 9,000 area are pretty intense on certain exchanges. People are waiting for the price to go back down there. And this is why we keep seeing these fluctuations, because people think, or the general consensus is, that Bitcoin's price, that Bitcoin is therefore worth more than 9,000. So why let it go any lower? Or rather, this is a good price for me to be able to pick it up. Therefore, I'm going to pick it up at that price. But the general consensus is everyone kind of has the exact same idea. No one knows the future. No one, not anyone. Something crazy might happen. We've seen before in the past in the cryptocurrency space. The crypto market does not do what we want it to do. Something crazy could happen. There could be another threat of a fork. There could be someone moving funds. There could be someone doing this. There could be someone talking about an error in a so-and-so, and the price may move down, and therefore a whale might sell. Like I said, who knows? People need yachts. They're probably selling off some of their stuff. However, this is the current state of where we are right now, as far as for those of you who are wondering why the price of the cryptocurrency market may have, or rather not may have gone down. It did go down, or the reasons as to why it may have ended up where it currently is. No one knows. The general idea is, and it's very weird. Not going to name any names, but I've seen people talking about that Bitcoin's dominance over the next couple of months is going to 90%. I have seen that a lot more people are into altcoins than they are into Bitcoin. However, I will say I do think it is a mistake to not own any Bitcoin. I do understand the mindset of owning altcoins, and as we've previously seen before in the past, altcoins have tended to outperform Bitcoin when there is a major parabolic move upward. I mentioned before, the end of 2018, I said for some reason, this is when I became what's the word I use? A Bitcoin sympathizer, because I kept on saying something's very weird that's happening. Everything is constantly just talking about Bitcoin. There were many altcoins that were being spoken about before, but the New York Stock Exchange, the NASDAQ, Fidelity, TD Ameritrade, the Rockefellers, everyone was just talking about Bitcoin. So I said, maybe it's time, I understand if you don't like Bitcoin. However, I have consulted many of my friends, and I have told my friends it could be a good idea to look into just even trying to own 10 million Satoshis. If nothing else, have a hedge in your portfolio. However, as far as altcoins rising, it seems like something is bubbling. There's a lot going on with many different altcoins in the cryptocurrency space right now. There's a lot happening with Ethereum. If we get news that Ethereum is going to properly have their upgrades, I think Ethereum's realistically, if we get news that Ethereum can do 7 to 15 transactions to 800 to 1,000 transactions, or proof of stake has been activated, or the mining reward for Ether goes down from 5 to 2 to 1 to 0.2, like they're talking about setting it, this would logically have some sort of an effect on the price. All the stuff that's happening with XRP, logically at some point could have some type of an effect on the price. It's all these things. We haven't maybe priced in Litecoin. There's a million and one things that could potentially happen with altcoins. Like I said, a lot of people around the world. This is why, what was the thing we were just reading? There are a lot of people who do believe in altcoins, or believe in the money that altcoins could get them. And this is why we've seen a huge uptick, in my opinion, for companies like Binance and Coinbase announcing the staking of this coin and the staking of that coin. Or we've seen like these, what was the thing with Tezos? Side note, this is not me telling you to buy any of these coins. It's simply that there are other people on this planet who believe in these coins. I myself do not hold an enormous amount of altcoins anymore. It's more so or rather, haven't sold anything. I just haven't accumulated any new of any other alt. Anyway, the point being, I would assume at some point a handful of altcoins will rise. And logically, if they do, Bitcoin's dominance would drop as a result. Does that mean that Bitcoin is going to leave the number one spot? No. Does that mean that Bitcoin is going to fall to number two? No. Does that mean that Bitcoin will stop being popular? No. However, people are in the mood to make money, and I assume at some point alts are going to move up. Take profits as you will. Like I said, I'll be honest. I feel like I know everyone so much because I've been here for so long, and you've all been here for so long that I can just kind of talk openly. I know a lot of people who are waiting for altcoin movements to kind of go ballistic, if you will, so that they can not only take profits, but take profits in Bitcoin. That is going to be a very fascinating time. If we have a situation where Bitcoin's dominance goes down, let's say around 50-60%, maybe let's say 48.9%, and all this money's flowing into altcoins, and we start suddenly seeing a lot of altcoins completely dumping, because people are switching over into Tether or switching directly into Bitcoin as a result. Anyway, it's going to be a fascinating future regardless, whatever may happen. As always, a very huge, humongous thank you to all my Patreon supporters. They are Professor Wally from Gunbot University, Adam Graysick, Mohair Maroney, Master Ventures in Thailand, Brady Niels, Woody and Daisy, Triple M and J, Jared Schneider, Wise Night Owl, 242 to the World, Crypto Joe, Bankroll Network, Adobo, Mill Wheezy, JR Mechanic, Strange, Radio Central, Crypto Artist, Cole D, 3D, Cryptopolis, Nicholas Runner with One Piece, One Love, Damien, Setsuna, Nick Kanaya, Richie Rich, The Third, Vlad the Impaler, Crypto and Beer Shipmate, Paxis, Nick, Mangialavori, Anthony Charles, Jim Gardner, Jeremy Fox, Minting Coins, Miller Hits Chest every day, and Kyle Keeps Skipping Leg Day, and yes, to Crypto. Thank you all very, very much for your support at the moment. For those of you who are not looking at the screen, maybe best to turn away. The prices are in red, except for EOS, which is up for some reason. EOS has I don't know if anyone else has noticed. There's never any EOS news. I know they're still doing the EOS podcast. EOS always has a very large 24-hour volume, $2.1 billion. It's almost that of Litecoin. It's more than Bcash. It's more than XRP. It's always quite fascinating how much it's even more than Binance Coin. EOS has 2 billion. Binance Coin has 151 million. Quite fascinating. I've noticed that over the last couple of weeks. We never hear about it, but something must be happening behind the scenes for them to garner this much attention. Anyway, at the moment, Bitcoin is currently at $10,136 US. I'm going to reload the page to see if the little thingies have changed at all. Bitcoin's dominance has also fallen below 70% at this moment. Interestingly enough, Tether itself is going down. Not even over the last 24 hours. This is the last couple of hours. A lot of these Satoshi prices of coins are in green, which could be an indication of, who knows? Could be a lot of things. Like, realistically, it could be anything. But the main takeaway is that the market is in red. It's not as bad as it could be. The last couple of days, we have lost around $830 from Bitcoin. I'm interested to see if it'll fall below 9,500. I personally continuously buying the coins that I like, regardless if the price is up or down. However, when prices are down, does get a bit more tempting. Nothing is really going crazy at the moment, whether up or down, that I can see. I mean, to be fair, this has $200,000 24-hour volume, so decrease was bound to happen. Yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all are having a great day, a great morning, a great afternoon, a great evening. Wherever you are, wherever you might be. Hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching and listening. I'm gonna have some tea. I don't know what's going on. I mean, it's cold. It's cold and it's rainy. Are we autumn yet? It's near autumn. It's September. It's kind of the same. Thank you all once again for watching and listening. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.